Hi, this is a QPS-20, and I'm going to show you how to use it so that you'll be able to patch holes in the back of a trailer. In the kit comes with film in a roll, 12 inches wide. It comes with the edge sealer. It's a two-part material in a single tube. Sets up in 10 minutes. Comes with a brush and scissors. Comes with insulation inserts to be able to fill the hole, which we're going to use in this one because it's gouged out. It also comes with a mixing tips to go on the tube itself. This mixes the material because it is a two-part material. So what we do is we'll begin by first prepping up the holes so that we can cover them up. And in this case, since this hole is pushed in, we'll use the edge of the scissors and we pull it out like that, so it becomes nice and flat. That one we're not going to worry about. One thing we will do with this one, though, is we will fill it in. You can cut these rounds. You can stack them if you want to. We have two different sizes. We have a 1/2 inch and a 1 inch. You can stack them on top. You can stack them together. You can do any which way you want to. You can do upward of 4 of them in a hole. But in this case, since this hole is small, we're just going to insert this in here, just underneath this glass right there. What that does is it gives it a flat surface to work with. And in fact, I'm probably going to put another one in there just over here in this little corner. And you just play with them. You'll figure out as you go along what it does. It's pretty easy to do. So we just fill that in. What it does, it gives us a surface. It also replaces the insulation. Now that I've done that, there are two things that do not come with the kit: caulking gun and cleaner. We use a disinfectant cleaner, and for training I use these because they're white. And I tell everybody, go ahead and clean these off until you get a white sheet. And this takes some time. As you can tell, this wall is very dirty. So we'll just keep rubbing on it, and I'll go through probably 7 or 8 of these, cleaning the wall. But you got to get the wall very, very clean because the patch will only stick to what is on the wall. So if you've got grime and gunk on the wall, it won't stick because that's what's on the wall. So these are alcohol wipes. You can use brake clean. You can use a lot of other things as long as it does not leave a residue. Now, while that is drying, I'm going to pull out the film and I'm going to cut off what I need. Now on these holes, what you want to do is you want to overlap the hole. So you want to cover at least 3 or 4 inches larger than the hole. Longer is better. So I'm going to go ahead and use this 12-inch patch. And I'm going to go over the hole probably about 4 inches. Because what happens is the adhesive on the back of the patch, the more area that it sticks to on the wall, the stronger it is. So I've cut the film. What I do too is I cut the corners off. Just cut the little corner off. And so what it does, it makes the patch a little bit more rounded on the edge, so you don't have that sharp corner sticking up. And you'll see why later on when I put the patch on. One thing you need to make sure is to make sure it's dry, because if there's anything on the wall or it's wet, the patch is not going to stick to the wall. So sometimes I fan it off. If I have a paper towel, I'll wipe it off. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that the wall is dry. Now, the next thing I do is I'll peel the back off of this. On the back of this is a very, very aggressive adhesive, and it sticks to anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it over the hole like that. I'm going to run along with my fingers like that and press it down to the wall. You want to make sure that it's nice and flat on the wall and put pressure on it just like that to make sure it's stuck, which it is. Now the next step is very important. Sometimes they put film on these walls that allows nothing to stick to it. So in order for us to have a really good bond with our edge sealer, we're going to take this little brush and we're going to go around the edge of the patch. Now what we want to do is we just want to rough it up. So that the edge sealer will stick to it. And it makes a mechanical bond so it becomes very, very strong. And one nice thing about this patch is, it's unlike patching it with a regular piece of fiberglass, is that this patch flexes. And all these walls flex during the transportation when the trailer moves. They flex every which direction. One thing nice about this patch is it flexes with the wall. If you put a piece of fiberglass up there, it won't flex. What happens is it breaks loose from the wall. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, now that I've brushed the edge, I'm going to use the edge sealer. It comes with a cap on it. So what we're going to do is, we do this the very last. If you're patching a large trailer with a lot of holes, you need to do this work first, then do this last. Because if you set this down, it's going to harden up in here in 10 minutes. So I pull the cap out of it, screw this on, stick it in our caulking gun, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bead around the edge. And what I want to do is I want to create just a small, small seam that goes over the edge in order for the patch to not be peeled off the wall. Now, a lot is not necessary. You'll find out, as you see in the first part of this, if I put too much on, it'll run a little bit. If it runs, you've put too much on. One nice thing about the edge sealer also is that if it didn't get enough on it, you can always go back and put some more on it. And if for some reason you put way too much on, you can sand this. We don't advise it because you want to keep that ridge over the top of the patch. And if you get a little bit of sag, it's not that big a deal. But we're going to keep working this around. And after a while, you get where you get good at it. It's kind of like doing a caulking job on a house. As you go along, you get a lot better at it. Now I'm just going to run around the corner here. See, when you cut the corner like that, it makes it a lot better to work with. But you want to make sure you overlap the top of the patch, because that's what gives you the ramp to force the pallet over the top of the patch. And you'll work out the angle here. It's kind of a... Now one thing is it's hot. The tips, when it's hot, will start to create a little tail off of it. And this makes it a lot easier to put the patch on. This kind of starts to smear it over a little bit for you, which is okay. Also, knowing this, that if you've got small holes that, let's say, are larger than a dime, but no larger than a quarter, what you can do is you can wait for the edge sealer to set up a little bit, and then you can fill up the hole because it becomes a lot thicker when it starts to set up. Also, one thing that you need to know is that this stuff will exotherm when it starts to set up. Now, I don't want to block your seeing this, but this is kind of a tough edge. And this is the edge we really want to make sure we do right, because this is the one that's going to take the hit when these guys are loading these trucks with forklift. So we make sure we get a nice, good coverage on this section. The top and the bottom are not too bad, but the front and the back are definitely the important ones, because that's what's going to get nailed when they start running a pallet down this wall. Oops, see I splooged, but you know, it's okay. Nobody's perfect. Okay, now that takes care of the edge sealer. That will set up in 10 minutes, and that patch is done. One thing nice about this edge sealer is that since it's a two-part material and it sets up in 10 minutes, it gets very, very hard. So when they knock the chutes off the top of these refrigerated trailers, all you have to do is just fill it in with our edge sealer. Just like that. And it's done. 10 minutes, you can re-drill it and put the chute back up. Also, if you've got cracks, if you've got small gashes, if you've got small holes, you can use the edge seal to fill it in. Also, down at the bottom of these trailers, along the edge, if there is a space in there, you can use the edge seal to seal that, because it'll bond with the fiberglass. All you have to do is make sure that you run the brush along it.